welcome to another Cool Tool Tuesday. Today's a pretty good one. We'll talk about code scanners, diagnostic tools. Stuff that's pretty important, especially if you're going to work on cars quite a bit, because you're going to have cars that go bad. You're going to have cars that break. You're going to have weird things that happen. So, actually, this is a prime example right here. On the way home from work yesterday, I had a Christmas tree go off on my dash. So I had pretty much every single error light you could have. Car drove fine, made it home, no issues. And when it stopped and restarted, they all went away. So I'm not really too concerned. Luckily, still have a warranty on this car. One of the first and only cars I've ever had a warranty on, so I'm kind of surprised on what to do with it. So I'm going to be taking it into the dealer. But in the meantime, I did want to go ahead and use a code scanner. So I thought that'd be something cool to talk about. Now, most people have probably seen something like this, right? So this is your standard, run-of-the-mill code scanner. Get on Amazon. You can even buy them in auto parts stores. Really cheap. I've seen these as low as 15, 20 bucks on Amazon. I think this is an Amazon special. It's a Chinese special deal. Maybe 15, 20 bucks. But what it does is it plugs into the OBD. So that's your onboard diagnostic port, generally under your dash, sometimes on your footwell. Depends on different vehicles. You can always Google where it's at on your vehicle. And as you can see, it's one-way plug. Kind of hard to screw this up, don't get me wrong. I'm sure someone out there will screw it up, but kind of hard to. Once you get it on, clicks on, then this turns on. This is powered by the ODB, and then you can run codes. So you can hit read code. It'll read the codes and give you out what the code is, and then you can look that up, like a P0102, or it'll be a combination of letters and numbers. Then you just get on Google, look up what that code is, and it'll send you down your path. You can also erase the codes. So you read it, you can say, okay, I'm not really worried about that. I forgot to tighten my gas cap. That's probably the most common code I think most people see is the evap code, which is an evaporative system on your fuel system. So it has a leak when you don't put your gas cap on, so it senses it has a leak in the evap system and shoots a check engine light. So you can use this to reset that, just delete it, and then if a code comes back, you might have another problem, right? But there's definitely things you can do better than that, right? So it's always not just about the most basic tool, it's about what else is next, right? And that's when we're going to be talking about this right here. So this is an actual bi-directional scanner made by TopTon. Here we're going to take a quick look at the TopTon website, give a little bit more information than what I'm probably going to go over in even the whole video. There's just so much you can do. I mean, this tool's got so much going on with it. Really, it's going to come down to what your use case is. I'll go over what my use case is and what I'm using it for, and then you make a determination on your own if you think it's worth it, right? So this is the price from the TopTon website. You can see it's $315. Not too bad. I actually think I paid more than that. So I think I paid the $459, but I think it was worth it. A lot of it's going to come down to what you're going to use it for. So, this is going to be some marketing data, things that it does. It's going to list so much extra stuff, but we'll talk about some of the things that I think are important. Auto VIN, auto scan to me is a big one. Just quickly be able to pull the VIN and then pull the information in when you're looking at it. So, let's go down a little bit. Gives you a little bit of information. One of the big things I think is important about a scan tool is what is it going to be compatible with. This is compatible with 60 plus brands. most of these Chinese-made scan tools are going to work on every make and model. You know, outside of some really random model that's not sold in the U.S. or some specific brand or some specific, you know, car that you have. But 99% of the cars out on the road today is going to be able to use something like this. It works for all different types of systems. You know, your ABS, your electronic steering, your TPMS, the immobilizers, the steering systems, the radio, the air conditioners, and a lot of other functions too. It really depends on what your manufacturer's built in to the system, and you can access that. He's got the repair guide. You know, personally, I don't use that. Google's just too damn good. It's going to look up to Google anyways. It's 9 times what it does. It's not going to be like an all data, if anybody's familiar with that. You know, your mechanic shops, so you have all data to actually give you specific information, or your manufacturers even have systems where they provide repair information, including like torque specs and what to check and you know, triages of like how to diag stuff. But you're not going to get that here. It's not that level. No, it's not that price, right? The bidirectional control is the real selling point on something like this. You know, versus that cheap $20 code reader. This is going to be what you're buying something like this for. Is, can I use it to not only have the computer talk to it, can I talk to the computer in the car and then have it do different functions? Like I was talking about the reset functions here. You know, that's going to be things that you're going to want. ABS bleeding, electronic parking brake reset. You know, I'll give you an example. I did my rear brake pads on my Honda. When in doing that, it's got electronic parking brake in the rear. So before you take those calipers off, you need to retract those through the parking brake retract function. If you don't, it'll ruin the caliper. So I retract those quickly with this, plug it in, retract, do my brake service. When I'm done, go back into the system, put it back in, right? Goes back to normal function. That alone can make it worth it. Are there ways around not using a scan tool? Sure. You know, people are going to talk about wiring a battery up to the caliper. Sure, if you want to do that, go ahead. You know, my time's worth a little bit more. I'm just going to spend some money and have a tool that can do it. And now I can do that on all other cars, right? Because most new cars are going to come with electronic parking brake. So that's something you're going to use probably regularly. ABS bleeding, like I said, when you're bleeding the brakes, if your manufacturer built in an ABS hot function where you can bleed the brakes and pulse the ABS pump, huge benefit, right? Something you're going to be able to do there. And like I said, you can also see the different metrics in the car when you're looking at different sensors, things like that. A lot of times, you know, when you're trying to diag a problem, it may be while you're driving. So you can actually keep this tool up, put it on your passenger seat, put it on your console while you're driving, pull up some specific monitors you want to see, and then watch it and see how it's acting while you're driving. Compare it left to the right, compare front to rear. Are you getting an ABS light? Do you have a wheel speed sensor somewhere that's reading a little bit different, reading high or low than the other ones? Maybe that might tell you might have a bad wheel speed sensor. You might have something dirty, you know, blocking the wheel speed sensor. So these are ways that you use this tool. And for me, the other thing that I think was a big seller on this is that Bluetooth wireless dongle. Yeah, you can buy a little bit cheaper ones that have the corded dongle, which is not the end of the world. Having the Bluetooth one, you can walk around the car. You know, I think in the video you're going to see me holding the device outside of the car as we're looking at codes. It's still connected to the car. So, you know, if you're in your garage or you're in a place and you don't have to sit in the car the whole time while you're trying to use the diag tool, that's going to be real nice. You can come around, get underneath the hood, still hold that diag tool and look at what you're wanting to look at as you're, you know, physically looking underneath the hood on the car. So, you know, overall, these functions are pretty comparable with a lot of these other Chinese tools. Like I said, these other, you know, imported scan tools. So you really just got to take some time and look at it and see what works for you. I do have their battery tester, something I can pair with it if I want to also. Honestly, I end up using it independently. It's just easier than pulling the tool out because it's got its own screen. But now we'll jump back and take a look at some of those codes. Really easy, just got to find the ODD 2 port, take the dongle off, go ahead and hop in. The nice thing is your OBD 2 ports, they're only one way. You really can't mess it up too bad. You can see that's in. Hard to tell, but it's got a little blue light on it. And then what we're going to do is put the car in accessory mode. So, put off the brake, hit the gas pedal twice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come over, I'll show you. We'll put it in diagnostic mode.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And this is the moment that I realized that the phone had connected to the car. So we have no audio. So I'm going to do a quick voiceover here. So you just pick your make. So this is obviously a Honda. So we're going to choose Honda. Then you can choose whether you want to enter the VIN manually or just do it automatic. Or do the automatic, have it read it. So have it read the VIN here. When you do that, you want to take a look at it, make sure it's the right VIN. I know this is the right VIN. We're not going to check it. It's a USDM model, USA, not a JDM model. And then we'll make sure everything's good there. And we move forward to the menu. Now we can do an auto scan, the hot functions, or look at a vehicle profile. Hot functions are where you're going to see all your bidirectional controls. So if you just want to go straight in to do like that electronic park brake reset or any of those other hot functions, you go straight in there. Auto scan is going to check out all the modules that this system has access to. We're going to end up doing an auto scan here just to have it check everything. And then you can go individually into each of the modules and scan each one individually if you're just looking for one specific area. So we're going to do the auto scan here, and then I'm going to speed it up about 4 times because it can take a few minutes just to run through it all. All right, now we got our codes. Let's take a look and see what we got going on. Looks like we got in a couple different modules. We got an ABS code, EPS, which is electronic power steering, some of the driver support systems, and the PGM, program fuel injection. So what we can do is we can take a look at each one of these faults. So you can go into each one of these computers and take a look what fault it got. And you can also erase them. So we got a total of 9 overall. So we got 4 on the driver support there. So let's take a look at that one. We'll jump in and we'll see what codes it came up with. Now you can also use this to clear codes. I will not be clearing these. Luckily I haven't voided the warranty on this car yet, so this vehicle is going back to the dealership. I mean, I love working on my cars, but if I don't have to, and I paid for a warranty, I'm gonna probably use it. So let's take a look and see what's going on here. Let's see if it's in the blind spot. This can take a second. And we'll read DTCs. No trouble codes. So it wasn't there. Let's go back. Hit OK. We'll go back. Looks like it's that camera support system. It's probably going to be where its codes are at. And there they are. And there's the 4 different codes within that ECM. Now, with the top on, it'll actually give you some information. If you want to, you can actually look it up on the internet, and it'll tell you what these codes could mean. Looks like we got a left rear speed sensor, confirmed DTC. Yeah, so we got a few things. Now, when I shut the vehicle off after the Christmas tree went off on the dash, it reset. So I don't think there's actually any problem with any of these items. This has happened on this vehicle probably 2 or 3 times since my ownership. It'll go off, that Christmas tree will come up on the dash. Car drives fine, no issues with the braking, no issues with any of the performance on it. As soon as you stop the car, turn it off, and then restart it, it goes away. So it could be some kind of weird fault. Again, I'm not going to further diagnose it right now, just because, again, I'm going to be taking it to the dealership and letting them take a look at it, since it's under warranty still. So, but yeah, from here, then you'd actually go in, hit clear DTC if you wanted to clear these, and then you can do that with the rest of the units too. So a pretty cool system. Definitely nice to have at home. Gives you a lot more detail than those individual, just code readers. Something to look into. I guess the real question is, in the end, do you need a real high-end diagnostic tool that's bidirectional? On that vehicle there, I did a complete brake system replacement, including the master cylinder, brake lines, calipers, the whole deal. And I needed to bleed the ABS. And to bleed the ABS pump, I needed the bidirectional function within that unit to do it. So I also had a situation where the right front wheel speed sensor was not working right, causing the ABS light to come on. Now I was able to pull up in that bidirectional sensor, bidirectional reader, what the wheel speed sensor was doing. And I wouldn't have known that the right front wheel speed sensor was bad and not reading correctly unless I had that tool. Now, of course, I could pay a shop to do that. And that probably would have cost as much as the tool cost. But once you have a tool, you don't have to worry about a shop as much, right? So, I mean, it's just things to think about. Is it for everybody? No. But the code reader is. You know, that's something cheap. I try to keep one of those in every vehicle I own. Just if I'm on the road and something happens and I want to get a quick idea of what the codes are, I can take a look and see. So, hope you guys found this informational. Like I said, not for everybody. Definitely something that I think is cool though. I'll leave a link in the description for the Top On. I'd recommend it. It's a little pricey. Autel's another really good brand. It's really popular for the DIY crowd. There's a whole bunch out there. You know, a lot of them are just Chinese made. Nothing wrong with that. Just, you know what you're getting. Better than buying a Snap-on Solus for $10,000, $15,000. But for the DIYer, it works. So, and again, just remember, you know, good tools make jobs easier. So help yourself out and get yourself something worthwhile. Please like and subscribe. Stick around for more automotive content.